Before we get started on today's video, I would like to thank these people for their comments on my videos. Amy Bethencourt commented on my faux rice paper video that she found using Elmer's glue as opposed to Mod Podge left her papers less sticky. And I found that my papers were a little bit sticky until they dried completely. So I'm going to try the Mod or the Elmer's glue next time. And then Stephanie B Studio, she said she was a huge fan of the Quick Tip Thursday. It should be QTT instead of QQT. So Quick Tip Thursday. But anyway, thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate it. In today's video, I want to show you 3 different ways that you can decorate pages for in your journal. One of my favorite ways is just to take a gold paint and put it on the edge of your paper so that when you look at the journal, you're able to see it on the edge. So I've done some pages here. This is one of my new finds. It is a book in Hebrew. And so I've done music and plain pages. And so what you're going to do, I'll show you the product that I'm going to use. And I do have it listed in the description box if you want to go over and get some of this. It is the Golden brand, gold fine color or iridescent, it says. And you got to make sure it's got these little marks here. I'm not sure why, but I also have 2 pages off to the side that I'm going to lay, once I color the pages, the edges, I'm going to lay my papers as they dry on here, because if I get a little gold on these pages, that will be fine. It will just make them look nice. It's very simple to do. So here's a page. This is a page from one of my Italian ledgers. And I also have this in my Etsy store. And I've used a lot of this paint, so I'm getting down to the bottom. But I just take a brush, dip it in there, and then just run it along the edge. And it just kind of, sometimes it will drip further down on the page, and I don't mind that at all. And I just go around the whole page. I just think it really adds to a journal, especially if you're doing a journal that has gold in it, or like rich colors, regal colors. It really adds. So when you guys are watching this video, I will be in Australia on my trip. I leave actually as I'm filming this. I will be leaving, and then I flip it over. I haven't done the top yet, but I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to be leaving a week from tomorrow. So, and I've heard the weather's going to be beautiful. It's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be Celsius wise, but Fahrenheit will be in the 80s or so. So it's going to be gorgeous weather. And so I'm just going to go around this, And you just kind of keep dipping in your brush so you get more on it. Make sure you kind of get all the sides. I'm excited. I'm going to be able to meet Christina from Christina Creates. I'm going to be staying with her in Melbourne. Okay, so now that I've done all those, then I will do the top. And look, I've got some on my arm there. I don't know how that happened. Flipping it over. Hopefully I won't. And then I just kind of try to hold the end. I do end up sometimes getting gold paint all over myself, and I suppose you could also do it with gold leafing. That would look pretty. And now let me do this side. See, I'm getting it everywhere. So it's a gorgeous day here today. I've already been outside. A friend of mine came over and helped me pick all of the oranges off of my tree, because next month, March, is when the orange tree will bloom and we'll have new oranges. And so you want to have all those previous year's oranges off of the tree. And so what I'm going to do is dehydrate them. I have another page. Oh yeah. So this just, this is like a, what is this called? Like some kind of a ledger bookkeeping page. I'm just going to put some on it too. So I'll continue to do this, and then I'll show you the next little tip I'm going to do for decorating pages. One of my next tips is to add a velvet trim to the edge of the page. And imagine looking inside a journal from the side, and that's what you see. So I've done some green ones, and so now I want to do some purple ones. And so what you do is you just take your coffee stained paper, or you could even use your digitals. I'm going to fold it in half because that is how big the page is. Remember, the journal is going to be purple colors and green colors. So I take my velvet trim and I do make it just a tiny bit longer than the page, just in case something goes wrong. I don't want it to be too short. And I just take the velvet trim and I finger press it so that you can see the middle, and that you will have a nice even edging on both sides. So I just take my time and just finger press it. I think if you used an iron, it would flatten that velvet out too much. And I'm not sure how wide this velvet trim is. It's maybe a ½ inch or so. So I do the one side and then I turn it over and I just run my finger one more time on the other side, just to make sure that I can really see that is pressed. This is such a beautiful, deep, rich purple. And the other thing is, on those papers that are drying, make sure every once in a while, and I'm going to do that right now, you pick them up and move them so that when they're drying, they don't stick together. Okay, so now what I do is I just take my Fabri-Tac glue and I just run it along one edge of the velvet, and it looks like this did not fold real good. I'm going to just do another crease just to make sure. I don't mind taking my time here because I don't really want it to be uneven or skip part of the page. Okay. And then I take my Fabri-Tac and I run it along just one side first, all the way down. And then I just pick up my paper and I lay it there about where I can see the line is from where I folded it. You can even take a silicone brush and press it down. There, that's pretty good here. I think it's sticking up a little bit here. And then I add the glue on the other side. And then just fold it over. And what I do remember I found is I did put some clips on it, but actually this may be, no, it's still coming up. So I took some baby little clips so that it would hold in place. Yeah, because it is coming up. I had forgot that I needed to do that. Okay, and then when that dries, I will trim off the edges and I will do the same thing over here. And then the third thing I like to do is add some windows with lace on pages. So I've done a couple here with gold. And so I'm going to do one more. And so I have a page here that I want to add some lace to. And I bought this seam binding. I think it's going to work. You can see it was only 25 cents. I'm using all different shades of the purples and the greens. You want to make sure that whatever you use is fairly light. You don't want a heavy lace because then it would pull on your page. And I think this will work here. And so what I thought I would do is put it up there. And then you still have this beautiful decoration there. So I need to measure how far I need to cut. So I'm going to just take a pencil here, and actually let me just measure this lace. I think it is 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do, so that I have enough room, I'm just going to do a line that is 1/2 inch. So let me just draw a line here. We're going to go from there to there. And then I want to make sure that it's only about 1/2 inch, because you want to make sure that your lace fits inside of the cut line. And since this lace is about 3/4 of an inch, I want to make sure that it, and actually I don't even have to really draw that. I can just take my cutter here, and I'm just going to hold that there and go ahead and cut to that line. Yeah, perfect. And I'll do the same over here. And then I will line this up and hopefully get all the inside. It looks like I skipped some right along here, this edge. Okay, there we go. My cutting mat is not flat, so that's part of the problem right there. So I want to make sure that I put the top back on this so that I don't cut myself. And let's just double check. I may not even have to erase that line. Well, I will. You can see it a tiny bit. Not much, but it It's enough that I can see it, and so it'll bug me a little bit. And so that is perfect. And it's just going to give me a little bit of a place to add glue on both sides. So I'm going to make sure that I've got a little edge over here. And then I'm going to straighten this up. Make sure I've got enough room, and I do. So then I'm going to take my Fabri-Tac glue and just go just ever so slightly around the edge. And then I'm going to take my lace and lay it just over the top, making sure I have a little bit of an overhang on both sides. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And that's going to look really pretty as you flip the page. And then I'm also going to do the same thing down here. So I have finished doing both edges, and so then I just come in with my scissors and snip off the edge just to make it nice and neat. Let's do the other one here. I definitely used a little bit too much there. I didn't need all that much. One more. Okay, so let's see what these pages will look like together with the green ones. So let's do a purple one, then a green one, and then a purple one and a green one. And of course, there will be other pages in between here, some with lace. So isn't that going to be beautiful? Very nice and rich. And then this page, I love the way it looks on this side, but I'm not too sure yet about this side. It looks kind of plain. So what I've decided to do for this side, since this side here looks finished and nice, to me this side looks not quite as finished. I am going to take some gold Stampin' Up! Paper, and I'm going to cut, I think I'm going to cut a little bit more than a half an inch in width. And then I'm going to take my border punch here, and I'm going to punch a border. And that is pretty. So I'm going to continue cutting this border. I'm going to kind of stand up because it's hard for me to see otherwise. And then I'm going to take my page and I'm just going to snip off one edge. And then I'm going to glue it to the top here. Boy, there sure isn't much room there, but I think it'll still be okay. Because on the other side, I will paint that. So let's just snip here. Let's open this up. And I'm just going to run glue along here. And do that on the top and bottom. Probably a small piece of lace would have been okay. And then let's do this side. Yep, that's okay. And I think I'm going to use my finer tip glue for the back of this. And at least on this side, on the bottom part, it's going to lay flat and won't hang over the edge. And I think that helps that edge look a little bit better on both sides. But what I am going to have to do now is on this other side, as I turn this over, you see that too much. I think here on the bottom part, it's going to be okay because that won't stick out far from the book itself, but I don't like this white here, so I'm going to take this paint here and color that in a little bit. So as you can see now, this I think looks a little bit better here. It's not just such a plain straight line there. And as I flip it over, now that I've painted that part there and there, it's not so stark white. So I think this will look pretty in as a page. And I used this page, which will also go in the journal. When I was painting this, I just had it over here, and so it leaves a few goldish lines here on the paper, and so I think that's okay too. And then my pages that have the gold edging on them, they're almost dry. And like I said, I kept picking them up here and there so that they didn't stick to this paper. But then you can see these two sheets here that I did have them laying on. There is a little bit of gold here and there, and I just like that. I like the way it looks. So anyway, I hope these 3 suggestions for decorating pages that go in your journal help you, and that they give you inspiration. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys next Monday. Thanks, and bye-bye.